Yeah. So this is gonna be a VOD review. This game is Fire Mage Ellie Holy Paladin from the Holy Paladin point of view, and it's gonna be versus Windwalker Boomkin Holy Paladin. And in the starting gates, there's a couple things you have to kind of think about. What is your main kill target going to be, and also what the enemy kill target's going to be. For them, it's probably going to be your either your mage or your Ellie shaman, depending on who has defensives and who's positioned in a way that's kind of over aggressive. And your kill target is going to be either the Windwalker or the Paladin. The Boomkins are pretty immortal because of frenzied regen, and you don't have a mind games mechanic to kind of shut that down on your team. So you're going to be looking for setups on either the monk or the paladin for the most part. And as I roll the clip here, there's a couple things you're going to notice right away. You are playing the right soulbind. I like Pelagos for this matchup. For the extra spell damage reduction, it's not too bad. But if you pull up your talents in a moment, there's something I'd like to comment on. So let's see here. Also, Runes of Lordaeron. In this matchup, you're most likely going to position in the middle of the map near the tomb, or either the graveyard side of the tomb. So the cart side with the bright green stuff on it, we don't really like that. It's pretty wide open. We like the graveyard tombstone side because there's a lot of like pillars you can weave in and out of, and kind of line of sight cyclones where you go for drinks, that sort of thing. But yeah. So adding food to our bar, very nice. Don't want to waste our water. Here we are, talents. So we are running Blinding Light. Now, as Fire Mage Ellie, I can't stress this enough. Short Hodge, Fist of Justice, is going to be your go-to crowd control. And the reason for this is because Fist of Justice opens up a lot of opportunities offensively to kill kill the other team, right? Blinding Light is kind of just like a defensive option that it's kind of like whatever. But with Short Hodge, it kind of opens you up to either being able to Hodge after a lasso, or maybe if we don't have lasso available, we can swap it over to the healer. Maybe the healer's in a bad spot after getting spam polyed, and you can just swap to him in 100 ohm and in a stun. Because your stun 6 seconds as a paladin is insane, and you really want to use it aggressively in this wizard comp Mage Ellie. And the other thing I wanted to comment is that Unbreakable Spirit, you're running Cavalier here. I really like Unbreakable Spirit pretty much always because we're not really playing in a meta. We're playing offensively is rewarded. So it's mainly you're gonna really use short bubble because most games are gonna be longer. So you're gonna get 2 or 3 divine shields off for the most part. So that's why I like Unbreakable Spirit over Cavalier right now because the games are a bit slower and a bit more defensive in general. Now, honor talents, they're okay here. The only thing I would swap, if anything, is I would play Light's Grace instead of let's see what you end up choosing here. Hold on. Okay, so you go with Old Second Blessed Hands. I would try and sneak in Light's Grace here for the extra throughput, because sometimes these games can come down to mana, and if they do a good job of stopping your drinks, having the extra Light's Grace efficiency will definitely help not lose that win condition. So you have to either pick your poison. You can pick get rid of ultimate sack and just have double bop for the offensive push against the monk, or you could get rid of blessed hands and keep the ult sack. And the ult sack is mainly to counteract the Zwen convoke go, because without ult sack, you're pretty much gonna get your partner's gonna get one shot on all their offensive. So going without Light's Grace, we'll see if this works out for you, but mana efficiency is pretty important, and Light's Grace helps with that. So, talked about Short Hodge, it's fine. So, typical setup here is going to be Lasso on the Monk, Dragon's Breath Calling on the Paladin, and then maybe a counterspell on the Druid. We're kind of keeping our distance here, that's fine, but we should be at the tomb as soon as possible so we can start line of sighting the Druid. So, something I want to comment here first is that I know you're not in comms with these guys, you're doing like LFG stuff, but what happened was the shaman full lassoed the monk, got a full poly on the paladin, and a full counterspell on the druid. It's up to you to get a Hodge follow up on the monk, because in the Hodge follow up, your ally is going to do a ton of burst damage, your fire mage is going to keep bursting the monk, and you might be able to get Trinket out of the monk if you re-Hodge him. So look, with short Hodge especially, you're able just to Hodge off the lasso, or even if you can save your Hodge and swap to the paladin, either one's fine. We end up Hodging the druid here. That would be okay if we were short Hodge, but now we have to wait another minute for our Hodge, right? So we kind of just did it after the go was over as well, because the monk had already gotten out, and the paladin was coming out of CC. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I would have the Boomkin on focus here, honestly, at the start of the game, because we don't know if he's Convoke yet. We don't know if he's Kyrian yet, what type of build he's playing. So I would keep the Druid on focus until you see him use Convoke or his Kyrian Covenant ability, because that's going to kind of dictate how you're going to use your cooldowns. Because if he's Convoke, you need to sit on your ult stack for a lot of the game if you can. Because if your partner's not able to line of sight the Convoke, you're going to be in a ton of trouble. So positioning's fine here. We're kind of keeping our distance, using the tomb to line of sight. We're kind of biding our time right now until we have our Hodge back, our CC back. The Pally comes off Paul ADR. One thing I want to comment is that your mage ended up popping his altar time way too late. So you ended up kind of wasting your divine tool there. That's just something you're not in voice comms. You know, you don't really know. But just something to be careful of. Watch the altar time, you know. Druid waste is root DR, so you freed him, that's fine. Wizards are kind of chilling back, you know, having a good time. Finally in our bars, that's pretty good. Alright, so there's Zwen. Like sweep, right? That's a good bop, right? But it's not going to be enough because the Druid incarnates it too. So you're going to use Sack here, which I completely agree with, right? So that's a good trade of cooldowns. You end up having to trade both bop and sack, but I like the bop first because you don't really know how much damage the Boomkin's going to have, and you can maybe try and be a bit greedy without having to sack there. But I think it's okay going for sack there because you're like 10% HP and the guy is incarnate. It's not bad that you overlap bop and sack, to be honest. You know, it's not a big deal. I think you traded okay there. So now we're just line of sight in their cooldowns. Here I would have swapped sorry, not swap. I would have looked for like a blinding light play. Like go for like a blinding light on the paladin. Then you can kind of set up a counter go. But let's see what we end up doing here. Because we used a lot of our defensives, and this is kind of your time to push. So we have a really good setup there. We got the Poly on the Paladin, Hodge of the Monk, he ends up trinketing, and see, he ports out, that's fine. So that was a good go. That's not too bad. So things are looking okay so far. So something offensively we're going to notice is that Paladin has no trinket, Monk has no trinket. All the Paladin has left is bubble. So you're kind of you're almost in a checkmate position where you could just 100-0 someone in a Hodge. But something I just want to reiterate is that you haven't really even blinded yet. So imagine if you had short Hodge here, you could have Hodge back very soon. You can just swap to the Paladin in a Hodge, or you can get like another Hodge go on the Monk, right? That's why short Hodge is so important as this comp, because it gives you more offensive pressure.